Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Johanna Candrawati Firnani, student number 190105008 from class KM3 Seminar on LT with Mr. Saifur Rahman PhD as a lecturer. And now I'm going to present to you about one of the English language teaching material that is Recount text. I will present around 10 minutes and I will divide into some parts. The first part is the background, and then learning method, learning step, learning objective, and the material itself. And now let's jump to the first part, that is background. Context is one of the English language teaching material that consists of someone's past event or someone's past experience. It is usually found in junior high school and senior high school, especially in 8th grade and 11th grade in English curriculum material. Since it is a text, students can learn how to write text creatively based on its own experience or past events, and also students can learn how to write critically. By comprehending the text, students can also improve their own reading skill. Depends on the teacher project for students. Teacher can train student language skill. For example, students can improve their speaking skill by presenting their own recount text in front of the class, in front of their classmates. And then after that, the students also can improve their sense of confidence, sense of braveness. And then for other students who are not present yet, they can improve their own listening skill by listening to the speaker. So for the listener, they can train their own sense of respectful. It is super interesting to learn about recount text since students can improve their own language skill. They can improve their speaking skill by presenting their own recount text. Also, of course, obviously, they can improve their writing skill by write their own recount text creatively and critically. Then they can improve their reading skill by comprehend their own text, and of course, they can improve their listening skill by listening to their friends' recount text while they present their recount text. Besides, they can improve their language skill. They also can learn about how to respect someone and how to speak confidently and write creatively and critically. And the next one is I will present to you about teaching method. The teaching method that I use is project-based learning. I will divide students into some group and they have to make recount text in group. And then cooperative learning, yes, I'm going to make individually project and they have to be cooperative and think critically because they have to analyze their friends' work. And then student-centered learning, yes. And then teacher-centered instruction because I'm going to present the material about recount text. The next part is learning objective. The first learning objective is students are able to write down the recount text based on their own experience or someone's experience. Yes, in the next part, I will present to you about student project that they have to make a recount text based on their own experience and someone's experience. And then the second learning objective is students are able to think critically and creatively. Yes, since it is a recount text, they have to write down their own experience or someone experience creatively, and of course they have to think critically to write down the recount text. And also I will train them to be able to analyze students work or their friends work. And then the next one is students are able to practice for language skill. Yes, like what I said before in the background section, I'm going to train the student to learn about for language skill by learning recount text. They have to be able to learn about speaking skill by presenting their own text, and then they have to be able to write creatively and critically by writing their own recount text, and then they have to improve their own reading skill by comprehend the text and listening skill by listening to their speaker. And then the next one is students are able to train their creativity by writing a text. Yes, since it is recount text that is about their own experience, they have to write creatively. Okay, and then the next part is learning step. In my learning step, I will ask students to do brainstorming like the usual learning step. In my brainstorming, a teacher asks students about their own unforgettable memory. And then after teacher asks the student, teacher tells about recount text briefly and asks student to analyze what recount text is. And then the teacher presents the material clearly. And I will present to you about the material of the recount text later on. And then after presenting about the material, the teacher gives student quiz. The quiz is teacher gives some picture about series of event. The series of event is one of the structured text of the recount text, and then student can write recount text in group based on the pictures. And then students present in front of the class with their group, and then teacher gives feedback for the result of the presentation. So in this part, student can improve and can train their own speaking skill, and also they can train their own listening skill by listen to their friends presentation. And of course student can improve their own respectful and creativity by writing and reading their own text in group. Okay, next. The next step is individually project version. Students make their own text based on their own unforgettable memory. So they have to write recount text individually. And then teacher asks students to switch their work and checking each other. So after that, students have to analyze students' work, their friends' work. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? And then teacher gives feedback and reflection to wrap up the material. Okay, the next one is I will present to students about the material in theoretically. Like the other, like the usual material, we have to begin the material with the definition of the recount text or the definition of the its material. The definition of the recount text is a text that contains of someone past events or someone past experience. So since it is about someone past events or someone past experience, so the purpose or the aims or the social function itself is to tell or to retell someone's past events or someone's past experience. Next one is the structure of the recount text. There are three structures in the recount text. The first one is orientation. In the orientation, there is introduction of its events, including 5W, or what was the events, when it happened, who was involved, where it happened, and why it happened. What, why, when, where, and who. And then the next one is, the second part is series of events. In this part, authors should explain about the chronology of the event, including how it happened, or the 1H. And then last but not least, reorientation. The authors should write the message or the moral value of the story or of the recount text. Okay, the next one is the language feature. Since the recount text is telling about someone past events or someone past experience, so obviously we use simple past tense or subject plus verb to or verb past. And then we use adverb of time, especially past time, like yesterday, last month, last year, 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and etc. And then we use adverb of sequence, like last, after that, then, previously, and etc. Okay, the next one is the example of the recount text. In this part, teacher can ask students to discuss together with the teacher, of course, to analyze this kind of text. So here is the contoh recount text from the Ruang Guru. There is last month in the first paragraph. Last month is kind of adverb of past time. Yep. And then I joined the Rogu Marathon, a simple past tense, and then I had to run and it was hard in the orientation. And then the second part is a series of events. There is first is the adverb of sequence. And then I woke up and etc. And then the last but not least, there is reorientation, that is about author's message for the readers or for the listeners. So, yep. Thank you so much for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.